We the people, we the people, we the people, we the people.
United States of America.
Well, they're stealing us blind. Right now, we are taking hold of the very first tentacle. We're not strong enough to push the whole beast back in the box. The concept that Truth Attack has is kind of like a barn building concept. The idea is that, we've got a valley out here, beautiful valley, and we've got every kind of farm you can imagine, but you look and you say, something's missing here. What is it? There's something wrong with this picture. And you realize that not one of these farms has a single barn. And why not? Because none of the farmers have figured out how to hold up both ends of the board at the same time. But if all those farmers get together on Saturday, they can build a tax honesty barn. And then the next week, they can go over here and they can build or get rid of the Fed barn. And then they can go over here and we gather up and we get more farmers because they're saying, hey, this works pretty good. Now that is my politically correct analogy. That's not the analogy I like the best.
Make the real one.
Now, is there any politically correct people in here?
No.
Okay, all right, well I can tell this from that. My favorite analogy is the bullies on the playground. You got a playground, all the kids are out there trying to play and have a good time. But you got a gang of bullies that just terrorize them. They're beating them up, they're taking their lunch money, they're stealing from them, they're pushing them around, they're making their life pretty much miserable. And the kids, know that we can't take on this gang and beat them. But if a handful of kids singles out one bully, catches him off to himself, those kids can drag that bully down and beat the pea water right out of him. They can sit down and deliver him a dose of justice. And they can banish him from the playground. Now when the other kids see this happen, what are they going to think? That was fun. That looked good. I'd like to be in on that. And so when they go after the second bully, you think it's still the same number of kids? A whole bunch more join. And they take that bully down. Now the gang retaliates because they like being in power, right? They're going to make life really hard. But these kids are American kids. They're resolved. And they keep taking one bully out at a time. One bully out at a time. And it gets to where it's easier and easier because there are more and more kids in the pile up. And then the next thing you know, the bullies are forced to either leave or sit back down and play in peace with the rest of the kids. That's what Truth Attack is all about. The reason I was really anxious to come down here is we've got some projects that I want to ask for your help on. It takes patriots to do patriotic things, and it takes people in numbers to do it. Truth Attack, obviously, we need funding. So, anybody that can contribute, obviously, everybody's got their hand out there looking. We don't want anybody to hurt themselves, but what's it worth? What price is too great to pay? What sacrifice too great to bear? I sacrifice everything I've got. And anything I get goes into it. But that's me. But nevertheless, we do need some funding. So that's, but I want to just mention that and go on and on. What I really want is people. What we really need is people. What we really need is Americans. And that's why I said, boy, it's going to be great to go sit in a tavern in New England. Not just New England, but Rhode Island. Legazpi, where it all started. And talk about what are we going to do, and then go out and do it. Live history. Make a future for our country. Save our country from our government, and save our government from itself. Because if we don't do that, we're going to lose both of them. And a lot of people don't realize the difference between their country and their government. I raised my hand a number of times. And it's one of the reasons why there was no question about what to do when I learned the truth about the income tax law. And the truth is, in case you haven't heard, there is no law that makes you liable for the income tax unless you're making payments to non-resident aliens. That's the truth. And the truth is that the wages and earnings that you receive are not income. They're your gross receipts for which you exchanged a part of your life, your human capital. Walmart takes in millions of dollars every day. Does the government call that income? There's no law that allows the Internal Revenue Service to consider what you receive as being 100% profit. That's what income is, profit. There's not one single law permits that. And what they do it with is they say, with no legal basis, that your wages, your personal earnings, what you give for your labor, for the time out of your life, your own personal injury, your own sweat, labor you own, because nobody's entitled to own another man's labor. Not anymore. That is worthless. That the basis for that is zero. That you are worthless. That your work is worthless. That you give nothing in exchange for the wages and the salaries that you receive. Do you believe that?
Hell no.
Hell no, that's right. Because it's not true. And the third thing is that you've got a God-given, fundamental, constitutionally protected right to earn a living through your own labor. How many of you knew that?
It's in the Constitution.
Right? Yeah, not enough. Not enough people. How many of you knew? You know, the Supreme Court 58 times has recognized the fact that you've got a God-given, fundamental, not government-issued, constitutionally protected right to earn a living. Can they tax your freedom of speech?
No.
Can they put a tax collector in front of the church and say $10 going to church tax?
No.
Can they tax your right to earn a living through your own labor?
No. Heck no.
It's got to be stopped. It's the Gatsby all over again. They're taking money they're not entitled to.
Whoa.
It's time that we burn the ship to the waterline. Here's how it can happen, folks. Truth Attack has set up a system, a network of freedom movement organizations that will allow us to mount 3 fronts against the beast. We're going to gang up on a bully. We don't want any of these organizations to give up the front line. Stay on the front line, defend your Second Amendment rights. Stay on the front line, go after the Fed. Stay on the front line, defend sound money. Because otherwise we're going to be just like Germany. We're going to be just like Germany in the Weimar Republic.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to be toting a wheelbarrow worth of worthless monopoly money around to buy a loaf of bread. And, you know, it's just a question of when if we don't do something about it. But we're going to gang up on the Internal Revenue Service, the first tentacle. We're going to mount a legal front. We're asking for test cases. We're looking out there for people to mount legal offenses. We've been sitting back and waiting for them to call one of our names and then go try to defend the guy. 1. It's time for us to all call all our names, stand up and say, we're all coming at you. It's time for us to take the offensive, because when you're on the defense, the only issue is how much ground are you going to lose. On the offense, the question is how much ground are you going to gain. Do we want to lose or we want to gain?
This concludes this program broadcast. We the People, a freedom of speech television show. Go to www.wethepeopleofri.org.